Good evening, each and everyone, and welcome to the Irie Myrie and Friends show. I'm Colin Myrie, and with me is my co-host this evening, Ralston Chamberlain. We're streaming live on the following platforms: Facebook, on the Irie Myrie Friends Facebook group, on YouTube and X, formerly known as Twitter, and as well as Twitch. You will also find us on the YouTube channel at Irie Myrie. Please like, share, and subscribe. We are 8 days away from local government elections 24. All candidates, the two national parties have been nominated and some independents, and we are seeing lots of activities taking place on the ground. The party leaders are out making promises and commitments in an effort to prove to the voters they are the better choice. We on this show want to interrogate the issues. We want to drill down on the prospect of who might be the winning or who looks to be the winning team. Right, Stan?
And so, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. We are joined this afternoon in our discussion by Hilton Dennis. He's a noted journalist and a former executive member of the Press Association of Jamaica. And he currently resides in Florida. We're also joined online by Anthony Fisher, friend to the show and a communication specialist, and currently residing in Chicago and a supporter of the Jamaica Labour Party. And of course, Mario Wood, no stranger to the Irie Myrie show. He holds an MBA in project management, a DBA in social impact management, and is an expert on local governance issues. He has also published many articles on local government and exploring how local economies and reforming local government for capacity building. Gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to the discussion.
Okay, good
I'm
afternoon.
going to
Good
start.
afternoon. Good
I'm
afternoon.
going to start by asking each of you, and I will start with Mario. The two parties are on the ground. They are making their promises and they are trying to win over the votes of the electorates. In your opinion, what do you think should be at the forefront of these discussions regarding the local governance and in order for the parties to win over the votes of the people?
Okay. At the first question that we should look at and to examine is how important is local government in a Jamaican context. As I said on a previous show, the word local and government go hand in hand because what it's saying is that this is really local governance. This is government at the very grassroots of the people. And it's very important because this is where the people. I know that we have a central government. However, central government has its place. Local government, but most of the people shouldn't in local communities or anything like that. That's where local government steps in based upon various legislation. So what the parties need to do is to educate the people as to how relevant local government is in Jamaica and why it is important to go out and vote for whichever candidate has a strong local government body.
All right, Anthony, your take on it. I'm sure you've been watching the campaign. What is your takeaway so far?
All right, so first let me correct something that you said in your introduction. I am a supporter of Jamaica. I wish I could turn my camera so you could see my wall. On my wall, I have the Honorable PJ Pattison. I have Mr. Bruce Golding. I have the Honorable Portia Simpson Miller, and I have the present Prime Minister and stuff. I said all of that to say that I am a Jamaican at heart. In terms of the local government and the promises that are being made, I agree with Mario 100% that the issues supposed to be local, because that's why it is called local government and stuff. I heard a lot of persons trying to make it into like a general election campaign and whatever and stuff. And I think that persons should, I would say, sieve the facts and look what is going to benefit their community, because that's what you're voting for. Local leaders to represent your community and look out for the needs of your community. So the things like the street lights, I mean, the scheme roads, the sewage, all of those local issues, what's supposed to be at the forefront of what anybody is going to vote for at this time.
And Hilton, your take so
Right.
far?
Yeah, so it's a good segue from Anthony, what he said. We say we're a representative democracy, transitioning to uh, a representative parliamentary democracy, transitioning to a republican democracy. Even the leaders who are making that transition don't seem to understand the difference. The people don't understand the difference between local government and central government. The people will easily, not be able to make the distinction between central government issues and local government issues from the way the campaign is being conducted. The poll that came out today, the Don Anderson poll, right, says almost half of the population give a failing grade to the councillors, right? 40%, that's almost half of the population, which is not good, because one factor is that some of them don't know the local representatives. It is micro. They're supposed to be closer to the representatives, but some of them don't know. And I dare say that local government should not even be as political as central government is, right? Except that you put people in there from the parties who take care of the very basic issues, right? The everyday issues that affect the people so well that when the general election comes around, the campaigning for general election, it redounds to the benefit of the parties. But that's not what is being done. Central government is overbearing in local government and is depriving local government of a lot of the resources that are needed to take care of those basic needs, reserving it for the member of parliament, the member of parliament's intervention, campaigning, and whatever. So the local representatives are hamstrung proxies of their members of parliament. Lately they are getting very restive because a lot of resources are now coming into the since it was discovered. You have to give credit where it's due. KSAC started it under Desmond McKenzie. They discovered a lot of laws that weren't being enforced, that were revenue generating, and then it caught on like wildfires. The municipal corporations were formed. They're making a lot of money, but most of it is being corralled by central government and doled out like charity to the municipal councils, right? That form of control is stifling and is not achieving the objective. And it is not surprising, therefore, that the election campaign is leader-centric, party leader-centric, and issues that are unrelated to local government are dominating, right? The debates, everything, they're talking a lot about central government issues, right? About increasing tax threshold, building city, building 700 houses. Those are not local government issues. They're already campaigning for a general election on the platform of local government, right? And it is, as it has turned out for the last couple of other elections, right, general and local, it is really a party faithful election, right? They're no longer trying to energize and excite the mass of the electorate, right? They're actually doing it deliberately now to make it unappealing to the general electorate. And it is really, if you can mobilize your base, and if the extent of betrayal, because we've never seen the level of expulsion of representatives by the party as we have seen since the start of this campaign, right? There have been quite a few expulsions. So there's a lot of internal strife in the parties, okay? Councillors have become restive because they realize right? That they are being trampled on in terms of their capacity to be the representatives they are supposed to be. So it's a party faithful election, and it is going to turn on who mobilizes base best and who has the least betrayal. It's not going to be about people.
We're joined by Michael Williams. He's the president of the NDM. But before I get his take on the question Chairman, sorry. Before I get his take on the question before us, I want to sift through two things that you said, Hilton, and I think it correlates with what Mario would have said. That there is, and Anthony Fisher also alluded to it, and I see a connection about the whole idea of the people not being educated on the local governance issue. Is it then, Mr. Hilton, that we need to put greater focus on educating the people on what the local issues are, so that when these candidates come to them, these parties come to them, they know exactly what they should be looking for?
So the we can be significantly three significant sections of society. The political sector, right, have to have the will for that education to occur through the parties and through the education system. Okay, those are the significant, and through the media. Okay, so there is an inclination to collude, not to do it, right, rather than to do it. They can do it independently, they can do it in concert, but the we includes those three significant factors, right? The political parties and government, the education sector, right, meaning the schools, and the media. Those are the three, right? But the people need this education, right? They couldn't care less about how voting goes if they don't know what is involved in voting. They just hope for the best.
How then, Anthony Fisher, are the electorate supposed to sift through the facts if they're not getting the education that Hilton speaks about? How are they going to know whether they're being duped or whether the promises and commitments being made to them are going to be followed through on?
That's a very good question, because sad but true, a lot of these persons will not be educated because they're diarted, whether they're diarted to the JLP or the PNP and stuff. So they already have their mind made up in terms of what they're going to be doing. What need to happen is those persons who choose to be, and I don't want to say even on the fence, but who choose not to vote because they have a big say in all of this. Is if we're going to leave everything up to the base of each of the political parties, then is who can bring out the greater amount of supporter on the day is going to win and stuff. But the majority of the country that doesn't vote, that over 60% that doesn't vote, is the persons who should make their voice heard, because they are the one also who could create that balance and force these political representatives to educate person in terms of what is need to be done and vote based on that.
If Ralston, if I may interject just for a second, right?
Sure.
I think it was Mr. Hilton that said that a Don Anderson poll came out that 40% of correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Hilton.
Yes, Don Anderson poll. Yes.
Yeah, said that they are not happy with local government representation.
Right.
Is that what I said?
Yes. Today's Gleaner
Okay.
published the results.
I am not surprised. I'm not surprised. In 2021, I conducted research on local government in Jamaica, and I found that there were capacity. When I say capacity, not just financial capacity issues, there was also human capacity, human resources capacity issues in local government to me. As what has happened is that since we have gotten adult suffrage, there has been talk of local government reform, and there has been progress on local government reform. In 2015, three pieces of legislation were created in Parliament. One was the Local Governance Bill, the second one was the Local Government Financial and Financial Management Act, and the third one was the Local Government Services and Employment Act. These bills have not been implemented as they should have been implemented. And it bears to me the question that, especially in the Human Services and Employment Act, that if this they should be, then there would be a more greater focus. MPs, I can't really call it the background, to do projects that should be local government projects. So things, for example, the Local Governance Act gives autonomy to local government. But do they really have autonomy?
You don't.
When a local government creates a budget, they can't even spend $1 of that budget. They have to send that budget to a central government ministry who has to approve that budget and sends it back and fund that budget, because most of the income that is created locally does not remain locally. How much of the tourism tax remains in, say, Hanover or St. James or Portland for that matter? How much remains in Clarendon, St. Elizabeth, and Manchester? It goes to Kingston. So for us to have, I think the reason why the people had that feeling and expressed that 40% is because most times when they need things to be done, when they go to the first point of contact is going to be your councillor. They go to the councillor tell them, "Me have to go to the MP." I mean, that's crazy. Kingston cannot tell the people in Hanover, where I grew up, in Cold Spring, Hanover, where we grew up, what their needs are. It is the councillor that needs to tell Kingston the people in Cold Spring, Hanover need road and water.
Yeah. All right, let me bring in, if I could, let me bring in Mr. Williams in the discussion, because the question we placed on the table, Mr. Williams, is, so far, what is your impression of the campaign of the two major parties going forward? Are they ferreting out the local issues? Are the people hearing about the local issues?
Okay, let me just say right up that I came in late. I'm sorry about that, but I heard a little of what Dennis Hilton was saying, and I agree with him, and I also agree with Dr. Woods that, and also Anthony, because they're talking about two things: what is and what should happen. Now, let me address what is first. What is that the PNP declared that they want a referendum on this government. So the government walked right into it. In other words, they preferred to have a referendum type election that don't include nothing or little or nothing about local government, because those are the modus operandi of both political parties. It was under severe pressure, where the PNP put forward the 3 points, but they never carried them anywhere. And the JLP get in 2016 and still don't carry them anywhere, because none of the two political parties is interested in real local government reform. So let us get that clear. Just like how they're not interested in educating the people, because I am positive that this is a deliberate action by them. From 1944, not 1962, from 1944, the Jamaica Labour Party and the PNP have been in charge of education in this country. Now, that is 78 years, not 62. And yet still, education began at 5.5. The formal education of Jamaica began at 5.5. I have been from 1981 in the Jamaica Labour Party government. I have been talking to Siaga and Mavis Gilmore about bringing early child education on the books. In other words, start to educate the children formally in an education system from that time. And that is what? Almost 50 years. Nothing has happened. They're not interested. I spoke to every education minister I spoke to about it. Everyone from then. From Mavis Gilmore come straight up. None of them interested in early child education because that is where the foundation is. So 30% right now in 2023, the Ministry of Education is not telling you the statistics, but they are there. Ralston, you can get them as an observer, paperman, if you request them. Less than 30% of the children that leave high school can go to university. Less than 30%. The rest of them fall in three other categories. Can read but can't understand. Can't read at all and can do little reasoning. Little bit of reasoning. That is the categories. Can't read at all, 30%. The other 40 fall between can reason but can't read very well and can't reason at all. So therefore, what we have in 2023 now is the diehards, because the Jamaican people, what we call the educated middle class, I would say 90% of them drop out of the system and can't bother vote. Right? In especially local government elections, that the ruling party have the say. It's only one time in the history of Jamaica, in 1986, that the ruling party lost a local government election. Only one time. Understand that. Right? Because if the ruling party lose a local government election, especially with the majority that is there now by the MPs, the MPs going to run everything. Right? So we're going to be back to the same until we get real local government reform. You will always find 60% of the people not participating in local government. Now, this local government election is not about local issues. The two debates could tell you, right?
Hold on, don't get into the debate yet, Mr. Williams, because
Mr.
Mr.
In the point, I just emphasizing the point that I've been making and that Hilton made, that it is about the diehards.
All right, I'm gonna allow Colin to ask his question, but let me just first recognize Mark Cameron. He has joined us. He's president of Up Jamaica Registered Political Party. They haven't fielded any candidates in the local government election. They're looking towards the general election, but he is a born artist and culinary chef, and he's an activist who has championed the cause of the people living in Mandeville, one of his most recent thing, and then he has most recently presented the views of Up Jamaica to the Constitution Reform Committee. Thank you, Mr. Cameron, for joining us. I'm going to let Colin ask his questions of the panel.
Okay.
Thanks,
Pardon?
No, I said thanks for having me.
Okay, you're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, 2 local government debates have taken place so far. Were you impressed, and do you think the debates will move any of the undecided voters? I put it to Mr. Cameron as he just come.
Yeah, I saw some parts of it. I don't think so. The local debates are not as impactful as I would expect the MP debates to be. Because if you notice the local government, it's really a part-time job. They meet once a month.
Not anymore. Them getting a big salary now.
I understand, but what I'm saying to you, my brother, when we had the legislative council and we had people in each parish, they had to obviously report to people who held them accountable. The local elections are about these are cheerleaders for political parties. They do absolutely nothing. There's nothing much to do, really. I mean, if you get good water, good roads, electricity, what else? I mean, seriously speaking, what else is required if those needs are being met? Unfortunately, that they're not being met. I'm in an area in Ingleside, and I've had some water issues since I bought that property 18 years ago. Do you know? 3 months ago is the first time that I've been there that I'm getting a regular water supply every 3 days. And this is an established neighborhood. So as far as we're concerned, local elections, and local candidates, here it is, we have 242 parish councillors making $6 million a year, which is what the MPs used to get. And we're not getting a representation we deserve. They're wasting our money. I'd rather have less of these people and more infrastructure work done with that money. Can you imagine having one parish councillor per parish? You know how much money we'd have in the city coffers to fix the roads and things that we need to get done? This is just a waste of money. This is politics as usual. They're handing out money to their friends to give money to the people to get the votes out. It has nothing to do with representation. And I'm saying this to you. Once we have the kind of system that the NDM has advocated and Up Jamaica and the Marcus Garvey has advocated, if we get a good system in place, a constitutional change, where you have each member of parliament representing their parish, doing the work in the community, bringing jobs, going outside of the country, bringing jobs in, finding the attributes of each constituency, find out exactly what they can then produce to create jobs. You don't just get up one day and say, boy, I'm going to build a factory. Build a factory to do what? I'm an entrepreneur. I've built several types of business. It's not an easy thing to do. Nobody has had a conversation about what each parish can provide. They've not even discussed the kind of education needed to facilitate executing those jobs, getting those jobs done. As you know, the economy is based on service or a product. We're not even having that conversation. We're not having a conversation about what Michael mentioned a while ago, about how we educate our kids to get those things done, to get the necessary things done. So parish council, the debate is neither here nor there to me, as far as I'm concerned, because they're not talking about issues that are game changers. This is all politics as usual, and it's just a waste of time. That's my opinion.
Thank you. Mr. Dennis, your take?
Yeah, when I listen to Mark, it distresses me that Mark is from the diaspora, has gone back home, invested, You know, and if we could just find the right formula to make his investment, his courage, his commitment, right, profitable in the sense of, you know, there are at the local level, there are people in the community who are not politicians, who have greater respect of the people, greater trust by the people, greater confidence. If Mark could find those people, one of those, using Mandeville as a pilot, say run as an independent, you'll get all the back you want. And the people were mature enough, right, in their consciousness to back that independent person, you know, and more of those getting into the system, even at the local level, to bring balance to the political agenda. I would be very pleased to see that, because the sense of anything that can be done right or anything that's being done wrong has to be under the existing two-party structure. And, you know, they collaborate to ensure that that is what it is. And there are things that need to change. And, you know, there needs to be a little more opening up of the system. But it is so hard to achieve that, you know, and that I find that distressing, because a lot of the things that we're talking about over and over, they are recurring, right? It's because of the entrenchment. You know what I'm saying? It's because of the entrenchment. You know, I wouldn't like to see market get frustrated. I wouldn't like to see frustration for that kind of investment. I hated what happened with the endgame, but I knew exactly what happened, right? It was conveniently used by persons who had issues with the parties, but were not really, you know, committed to new and different. And then they went back into the parties. And when the people got caught up with the idea of the third party, new and different, right, they just kicked the legs from under it. And, you know, that was so sad, because it
I
would
mean,
have been so good for the country.
Can you imagine if the NDM had stayed its course and all the personalities stayed with the movement? Eventually they'd have made a
Of
difference.
course, they came very close. They came close.
Yeah, but when I heard about the NDM, right, there's a lot of suspicion, first of all, because a lot of people said to me, you know, the NDM is just another GLP, it's another branch of the GLP. And I was like, well, you know, I didn't look on their constitution. I looked on it recently when we formed an alliance, and I looked on it. The NDM's constitution it's almost exactly like the Up Jamaica, UIC, and all the others. And you know, we're supposed to show that good ideas are not exclusive to anyone. I mean, why is it? There's no coincidence that all four minor political parties at this point came for the same type of constitution. And we've had the benefit of looking on the challenges that affect our country. Okay. Some people talk about, you know, we need to hold them accountable. How can you hold them accountable without consequences? If there are consequences, you're like, okay, whatever. I'm going to hold you accountable. Okay, so what? There's no consequence. So they continue doing the same thing. We looked on judicial reform. One of the things that we mentioned in at the constitutional committee, which is a recommendation, was that the DPP must be elected by the people. So the DPP are accountable to the prime minister or any other government entity. So if the DPP does not do their, he or she doesn't do their job, they can be voted out. We also have a clause in our constitution for Up Jamaica that if you're a non-performing MP, you can be recalled. You're not gonna serve out your term. That's not gonna happen. Right. You have to be removed. So accountability is important. Consequences should be important. As it relates to crime, there's no really effective crime plan because nobody has talked about the bigger elephant in the room. And most Jamaicans after slavery, they, first of all, Jamaicans are here because of sugarcane production. Not transition sugarcane production into anything viable. Now, England, England, I mean, they're very slick in how they gave us our freedom. Can you imagine having 10 donkeys and you're carrying cocoa because you have a market for cocoa, and there's no more cocoa? If you let the 10 donkeys, you'll be considered animal abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Here with us as Jamaicans was, you're free. You're free to do what?
Mm-hmm.
No land, nothing to take care of ourselves. So a lot of people went to Kingston, hitched up Gully side, to be able to get a little work with the upper class. And there's no strategic initiative on any government that I've seen that addresses the transition from sugarcane production into anything viable. So we're burdened with a lot of people, and I hate to say the word burdened, without the opportunity to get them employed, because we have not had a conversation. We have not diversified from the sand and sea with tourism. We haven't diversified even in our agricultural sector. There's much more we can do besides plant sugarcane, my brothers and sisters. I mean, my brothers. Yam is not the only thing we can plant. And if we're not able to plant, then we should lease our lands to countries that are challenged with winter and have them plant in Jamaica. And we can learn. These are things that it takes love of country. It takes a sustainable course with solutions that is going to change our country, man. These guys are more focused on winning. And when they win, the Jamaicans lose. Because there's no comprehensive approach to change anything. The judiciary or farming sector or economy, nothing. It's the same mentality that they're doing on a larger scale. They have their friends. They have their friends who they give special deals to go to America, and they have the exclusive to bring some meeting, and they make a whole bunch of money from that. Right? They have the exclusive right to do that. The same with the pharmaceutical industry. It's one or two people that bring all the drugs in Jamaica, and they make millions of dollars at the expense of the Jamaican consumer. So we need to break things up a little bit and be a little more fair. They need to have more empathy for the Jamaican people. The politicians, they do not have any empathy. They don't care about the challenges we're having. I go to Jamaica the other day and I started a business. And the headache that it took to get started. And when I look on how accommodating they are to even the Chinese that come to Jamaica, right? They give them the best land. They give them a watershed. Can you believe a country, the watershed? Can you believe the government, giving the Chinese government the port, control of our port? Your mouth, I'm at a restaurant now, right? Your mouth can be poisoned. That's your point of entry. Do not give that to a foreign country. Okay. Norman National Airport is run by Mexico. How on earth do we get to a point where we're going to say to the Jamaican people that we cannot run it and make a profit, but hey, we can sell it to somebody else and they will make a profit? Look on GPS. Look on all the sellout of the cement company. The biggest travesty is the one with the cement company, because right behind the cement company, you have all the raw materials necessary to make the cement. You have a port in front of the factory that you can ship all around the Caribbean and anywhere else you want to go. And we sell that out. They don't care about us, brethren. They do not care about Jamaica. They're sellouts and they need to go. And the sooner we stand up as a people and demand change, it's not going to happen. And the middle class, I'm very disappointed in the middle class, because sometimes I feel like I'm out here like a wolf, barking at the moon. Because the middle is not stepping up. That day when they had the raise, when they had to give themselves this big raise, and we had a little a demonstration at the park, few people showed up. but we're collectively affected by this race. So I don't know, man. I mean, I'm very disappointed in a lot of our Jamaican people. You know, they want you to put a target on your back, right? While them sit back and get all the benefits, and that's what they want to do. But
I-
I have another thing for them. You know, that's hey, me
There's
more
quite
than
a bit of issues that you
Heal.
brought up, Mark, and we're gonna interrogate some of those further down. But I wanted to get back. I wanted to hear from Mario and Anthony and Michael their impression on the debate so far, as Colin had put forward. Let me hear you, Mario.
You're muted, Mario.
Mario not here. Oh, Dr.
Yeah,
Mario.
man. I am here, man. I presume you want my unbiased opinion, right? Right, Ross?
Yes,
Unbiased. So let me just cover up the orange behind my shirt then.
Mario.
One
and,
biased
and
one and an unbiased one, right?
and the black. Let me cover that up. All right. The debate. I don't have the figures as to how many people actually watch the debate. I'm wondering to myself if debates are anything that would change people's minds, or people have already made up their minds. Debates are certainly what happens in, you said, the United States. By the way, my friend Mark, my opinion of it was that, and I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible, guys. I thought that Natalie, I think she did an exceptionally well job. She brought up some very, very important points. She did attempt to educate people as to the importance of local government, the history of that reform process. Um, I did like the sparring between herself and Venetia Phillips. I think that was that sparring thing between herself and Venetia. Just very close here. Let me just correct Mark on one thing. Local government has a lot more to do than road life. They are first contact. We want not done that. If anything happen in the community, the first person is to them councillor. Even if the council is not responsible for fixing roads, sadly as it may be, and I think there should be changes, and there will be changes. Matter of fact, people who have been in local government, we are now looking at an approach of a more decentralized governance structure. We have to remember that what we have currently is a unitary process given to us by England. We still have that, where parishes, just the term parish is not that. Parish is something that the churches create. But be that as it is that we have, we also believe in county, which resources of a county, the majority of resources will remain and be used to assist the people. What I'm calling for is an implementation of those, proper implementation with the government. And then we'll have 40% or more that local government shouldn't be not happy with the current representation. Because to be honest with you, councils find it very difficult. There is your own, they cannot even have autonomy to raise those funds. Councils want to know, let's say, create a bond, right? They would have to go to the Ministry of Finance for permission and the Ministry of Local Government. If the council want to create, they have to go to the Ministry of Local Government. So what we need is that those three pieces of legislation, know that the councils spoke Mark about accountability. Know that the councils Public Bodies Management and Accountability Act, the 2001 Act, but there are no public corporations. They have to meet those on an annual basis. Otherwise, they face the court and the secretary.
But Doc,
You
you're
know?
talking about what's supposed to be. We have to talk about what is.
I know what is. Believe me, my brother. I know what is. So I'm calling upon this current administration to implement the laws
Them not do
created.
it, man.
Them
But
not do it.
Why they want
them not going to do it. If they don't do it in 8 years, why do you think they're going to do it tomorrow?
the only thing I can say to you all then is make sure that when we go back there, we implement them.
Well, that
but
is
we-
why that's the first thing we have to do.
implement them.
We have to mobilize the third parties. The JLP and the PNP is one party. JLP and P.
No, I
They're not
beg to
going
differ.
to do anything.
You know,
You
so
saw it with our
I-
education system.
You
I-
cannot say
hold
that.
on, hold on, hold on,
Cannot
hold
say
on.
that.
Hold on
Right?
just a second. I want to hear.
Well,
I
yeah.
wanna-
Well,
Well,
if
I
you
wanna
want
give
to hear
everybody-
more,
now
people,
that
you have to
you're
make
hot-
people talk less.
I want to hear from you then, Michael, your impression on the debate so far.
Well-
How do you think
It was. All right. Ask the question.
Yeah, I want to hear, do you think that the issues discussed in the debate would be issues that have convinced the undecided voters?
No.
No.
All right. And I will tell you why.
Yes,
First
please.
debate, and I watched both of them intensely.
Mhm.
First debate, aside from the little information that we got about local government and its reform, which will never be implemented, even if the PNP win the local government election tomorrow, well, I mean on Thursday, it's not going to be implemented because the GLP is in power. Right? And so I will say the local government election debate, the first one was full of mostly cascas. And in my opinion, the first debate was a waste of money, total waste of money. The second debate was a little bit better, right? And I would say both JLP and PNP tried to talk about the national issues, not local issues, right? Aside from what the PNP said about local government, which they had 6 councils that they control, right? That is 40%. The GLP had 8 councils that they control, which is 60%. As a matter of fact, the PNP had 2 in 1 because they had St. Catherine and Portmore. So you could say them had 7. Nothing was done by those councils. Just as the same, nothing was done by the 8th. Right? Because you could call it 7-8 if you were to divide Portmore from St. Catherine. Right? So they had 7-8 in terms of control of councils. And what did they do? Nothing at all. Them don't fix no road, them don't fix nothing. Them don't do nothing. Each one, and let me tell you something. What you don't recognize is that there's one set of money that comes straight to the parish council that central government do have no control over. That is property tax. Them don't nothing with it.
I beg to differ,
I will
Mr.
say,
William.
as far as the debate is concerned, the both of them spend $29 million to put on that debate, then waste money. $29 million is wasted money.
Michael, they should have had it.
None of us are any wiser. And
They should have had it on social. They should have had it on social media.
No.
1 second, Mark.
So-
1 second, Mr. Wood. Let me. I know I want to
So
get.
that
into-
is the answer to the
Let me
question that you have.
Michael
that you
has
have.
finished. Let me have Anthony Fisher weigh in on the debate. Do you think?
I'm finished. I finished answering your question. And I give you the reasons.
Okay.
All right. So I watched both debate. I will also agree with Michael that the first debate was a disaster. And not only from the political representative, but as somebody who worked in the media, I was ashamed of the questions that was asked and the moderating in that first debate. That was a total disaster. Last night was much better, and this is where I differ with Michael here, because I think last night a number of local issues were discussed. Could there be more? Yes, but last night I think was more. I wished though it had come out of the blame game scenario where, oh, I do this or you do this or you not doing this and stuff. I wish that wasn't the case. But I could get a little meat off the maga bone that was there last night. So yes, that was what was a little better. Just to add something, I hear Michael and I hear Mark, but coincidentally, none of these parties are running any candidate into the local government elections. Zero candidates. And again, let's look at it local, because that's the genesis of everything. Everything begins at the local level. And so as independent parties, I think that if you're going to have a target, that's where you should try to start. Build community, start from councillors, and then move on to the general, because I think that's where you can start make some impact in terms of what is happening. So yeah, that was my view on the debates. Could be first one total trash. Last night a little better.
Ralston, can I just make a correction as to something that Mr. Williams said?
Yes.
Okay. Correction, Mr. Williams. The only funds that local government have total control over, funds that they self-generate, like, for example, market fees, parking fees, signs, building fees that they get. Property tax and motor vehicle registration, they only get a percentage of that. All that money goes to, and then central government gives a portion to the Ministry of Local, sends that portion back to the municipal authorities. I mentioned the issue, was it Mr. Hill mentioned the issue about the independent feeling a cadet. It's an error that they should not have done so, because according to the Don Anderson poll for December last year, 38% are interested in casting a vote in local government election in comparison to what happened in 2016 government election. Surprisingly, and I agree with you, local government starts at the local level. Surprisingly enough, the majority 51% said that they would vote the best person who could remedy our local issues and local problems. So I believe that we have these laws, have to select this and local, less decentralized about capacity building in centralization by central government and more
I don't know if
I think that orange screen is blocking the sound that's coming
Yeah,
across from
I'm not
Mr.
sure,
Mario.
Mario, you keep like
No, it's the
chipping in and
orange
out,
screen
or maybe it's
behind
the
it.
headset.
It's the orange screen.
Or maybe it's the
I think Mario
headset,
have a bad
but you
connection
keep going
and
in and out.
maybe
If you
dial
can try and
back
fix that
again
so that we can hear you properly.
because if
Draw
not
the
come
screen
through clear
across.
at all.
Draw it and show a white
Mario,
background.
I think you should hang up and dial back again.
Yes, yes. All right, Colin, you want to go to your next question?
Okay, okay, thank you. If you were to advise any of the parties, what major reform would you like to see take place if and when they win? And I'm going to throw it back to Mr. Williams, because he was on it. So what major advice would you give to the parties, Mr. Williams, if they were...
The first thing is we consider constitutional reform to be a big issue in Jamaica, right? That is
Yes,
our that is the opinion of the NDM. What the Jamaica Labour Party is doing in conjunction with the GLP, the PNP, is a whitewash. Every poll that has been done will tell you that the people want a direct election for their prime minister. They don't want the MPs to have any other job but the MP job. And they want fixed date for elections. Three things. The present Constitutional Reform Committee is not giving us any of those. With all the money that they're spending and everything that they're doing, they're going to swap the GG for a president. That's all I'm going to do. With all the chat that they're doing. And both the GLP and the PNP agree to it. What the only thing that the PNP want extra is they want us to done with the Privy Council. And we say, if you want to done with the Privy Council, you must have a plebiscite, which is like a referendum, and make the people decide. And this case that's coming up now at the Privy Council, anyhow, Vibes Cartel Gateway, the PNP argument done.
Jamaica
Right?
don't.
So, them better pray. Them get way. Them don't get way. That's what them have to do. Them have to pray. Them don't get. Because anyhow, them let
No,
cartel.
yeah.
Nobody will want you're not about Caribbean Court of Justice. So I am saying to you, I went off script a little bit, but the most important thing for us is real constitutional change, not figurehead change.
Can I come in? I mean, the conversation has left me a long time ago.
I know. I'm gonna bring you in.
Conversation for a long time now.
On the
I become an observer.
question.
So is it a local government question that was asked? Because Mike just raised some general central government issues.
About what is the most important.
One thing I would say quickly though, Mike, justice must always be served, you see? I wouldn't pray that Vibes don't get away. Right? If he was done an injustice by the way that he was convicted and incarcerated, you know, many others who have committed or accused of committing more dastardly crimes, right? So I want you to probably step back on that. If the law lord see that he deserves his freedom, he should have it. All right, because government, the rule of law should be sufficient to ensure that it does not.
It is neither here nor there to me.
Justice must be blind. Justice must be blind.
Irie, was it or Anthony? Was it a local government question that you posed?
Yes. So
yes.
the question
so what
that
I would propose
Colin was putting forward, Hilton. Let me just clarify it before you answer, Dennis.
Yes.
is the question that Colin wants to know is that what would be the most important thing you want whichever party wins the local government election to focus on? The most
It's not the party that wins, but in a general sense, because there's something I had shared after the debate last night, and I look back at it. I propose a new policy for municipal corporations, which they call themselves now, to have greater fiscal independence under central government oversight instead of control. They must generate their own revenue. They must have a municipal budget presentation, which is aired live by social media. It is open to the public, and it is aired by social media. They must pay a statutory or fixed monthly cess to central government instead of central government corralling all the resources, right? And deciding which ones they generated directly and which ones generated, by coincidence. They must control their revenue, pay a cess to central government, and that cess must cover legislative direction, audit enforcement, adjudication, training, and the conduct of elections. Under the new Republican system, I am proposing governors of state instead of a minister of local government. In the structure, I'm proposing 3 governors of state, where we regionalize the municipal corporations by county. And those 3 governors of state would operate from the office of the president or prime minister, whatever they call the head of state, right? So those are some of my recommendations. We must see a Republican system. We must see very significant differences. And the only thing I would say that is kind of central governmentish and constitutional reformish. If we want symbolically to show that we have changed our system of government, there must be no more King's House or King's House land with no ceremonial president still living there. It should be the site of the new parliament. That is the greatest symbolism of change. That where King's House is now should be the site of the new parliament of the Republic of Jamaica, to make it absolutely clear that we have departed from the monarchy and the rule of Britain. All right?
And so if I hear you well, then Dennis, you're saying that there needs to be greater autonomy given to the municipality.
They say they have it now, but they don't have anything like that.
Absolutely. So let me hear you now, Anthony Fisher, your one thing or what main issue that you think whichever party wins should focus on reforming.
It's going to be hard to move away from the present structure that we have. But if there's anything that I would want to see is that the local authority have more power in terms of what they do. And I will use here in the state as an example. We have city government, and the city government basically runs the affair of the city. It is totally different from the federal and stuff. So I would want to see something in that regards, where the mayor is responsible for that parish that are and stuff like that, and it is run on that level. And then the central government thing is more like a support, but the city or the parishes are run specifically by their mayor. So all the taxes and stuff that is collected stays within that parish. Take care of the roads, whatever needs of the city, the schools, everything. It is run on that local level. If
I can cut in fast, just quickly. You know what makes a difference here, Anthony, that you and I see? None of those, they call them like here in Florida, commissioners, city commissioners, right? None of them are elected on party ticket as Democrat or Republican. That's what's causing the problem in Jamaica, because they are elected in Jamaican party. And then you see the member of parliament talking to councillors like their subordinates. Okay, you are local government, I'm central government. They're talking down to the councillors like subordinates, even though they were elected on their own steam. But because they were elected on a party ticket, they're being spoken down to as subordinates by MPs. Who created that structure where the MP is not over the councillor. The MP is not over the councillor. No. The local government minister might have some kind of sway and say, but the MP should not be talking down to a councillor. You come on my ticket. You can't run for councillor if I, the MP, don't back you and say you must run. That's the difference here. None of those city commissioners here who then elect the mayor run on any party ticket. No governor of the state talks to them and tell them what to do in their city. You understand?
If I may interject a little bit, what you're all saying, is basically what I've been saying, that we need to have a strong local government. Frankly, on the 26th, I don't want to think of really as being just a referendum, but I'm looking out of the 26th of February.
You're
The
breaking
current
up again, my
administration.
friend. You're breaking up again.
You're breaking up again, Mario.
Orange screen.
I have to be working this right now and
maybe it's the headset.
The screen, man. Chamberlain.
The headset.
Can you all hear me?
Yeah, but you keep going in and out.
Headset.
I think
I'm in Portmore, and when the 300.
All right. While Mario figure out his headset, let me hear your mark on the one thing.
Not a headset problem, It's the server, the services.
Yeah, well,
So,
okay. Let me make this abundantly clear. No pun intended. I don't think we're gonna get what we want under the present structure. Mario talks about strength in local government. Up Jamaica's proposal is to have each parish be run by the MP, sort of like a parish manager. And then the prime minister, the president, would have his or her own cabinet, and they cannot be ministers. These people are
So if the 1 second, Mark. So if I hear you clearly, you're saying we would no longer need councillors. Is that what you're advocating?
I do not think we need the amount of councillors we have. Maybe the councillor could work directly. One councillor per parish could work with the MP on small stuff, not anything of any in other words, the councillor. Okay, I think
so
one
Mark,
of the biggest.
Are you saying that we should local?
Hold on there, boss. One of the biggest issues we have is that we have not defined the work of a parish councillor. Okay, and if all of the things, if everything was taken care of, if all the things that we need are in the parish are taken care of, and suppose there's a build out of a community, what's the job of a councillor? What do I need to? I haven't met my councillor, and I've been very productive in my level. I haven't met them, but I don't need to meet them unless I'm looking for a handout, which I'm not. So what I'm saying to you, my brother, is that they become political cheerleaders. If the most of the work is done by the
Mark, if you may, I have a quick question for you here, because you made a very important point right there. You said you have not met your councillor, right? You do business.
Yeah.
All right. So what avenue do you take to establish those business?
Well, I register my company with the government. What I'm saying to you is that the only time I need to meet my parish councillor is in a social setting, or if I have any issue that I need to deal with. No, I had a
Thank
water
you.
issue for many years. I had a water issue for many years. The water company is the one I spoke to the head of the water commission in my area, and he's the one that fixed that removed some blockage, and I got my water back. Right now, what I'm saying to you, if all the things are being done, all right, if all the things are being done that we want to make your area viable, I don't need all this representation. I don't need it. We don't need it.
Well,
What
Mark. I do not know my commissioner in Miramar.
No,
I
we're talking
do
about
not know my commissioner in
you don't have
Miramar.
to because your services are being met. You don't have to meet the
Yes,
commissioner.
but I
You're
don't
not
know her.
a commissioner. You meet your representative, but there's a problem. All right. Now,
You
what I'm
see,
saying is
because
that
she has capacity and the power.
yeah, but if they were doing their work, right, you don't need to meet them. The thing about Jamaica is
You
that
see, the thing with it, Mark, what you don't failing to understand is that we are basically giving these people basket to carry water. They don't have the power because the laws from 2015 are not properly implemented, brother.
okay. How to do what? How to do what in Jamaica? Tell me the job of a parish councillor, please.
The job of parish councillor, Mark,
Yeah, tell me the
they
job of a parish
represent the
councillor.
people.
To
Will you
do
wait?
what?
Because
To do
you
what?
have
To do what?
their job is not just for road, water, and light.
Tell me what the other
Their
job is.
job involves planning, community
Tell
development.
me.
You're not listening. Are you not? Am I not coming through? Am I not coming through?
I'm listening now.
They're responsible for more than just light.
Tell me what the job is. Tell me.
Mark, I'm gonna enter into a tracing contest with you.
I'm not tracing. I
Right?
said,
We know each Okay, and I'm telling you, that's I'm asking you if I'm coming through to you because I'm having really bad service. So I'm wondering if that's the reason why you're not hearing.
You're coming through. Go ahead and tell me what the job of a parish council is.
Okay. One, they represent the local communities and they are the representatives of the local communities, whereby in which they have dialogue with central government because central government controls basically every single thing. The second thing is they are responsible for planning. They are also responsible for certain social services that occur in the local area. They are responsible for local development. So it's not like them on just go on meeting once a week. There are various meetings that they have to go to meet with other stakeholders and try and get things done. The very NWC that you spoke about, they do meet with the NWC to see if they can get the blockage that you spoke about removed because not everybody might be able, like Mark Cameron, to speak directly to the manager of NWC. There are a lot of people out there that maybe the manager of NWC might not even want to talk to them. I can't say whether yes or no. But come on, man. These people are not just there not doing anything. Their hands are tied because we do not have necessary legislation implemented into place. And all I'm saying is that a PNP government, let's get it straight, a PNP government would ensure that those pieces of legislations are put into place and implemented in the proper way.
Well, let me say this to you, Mario. Most of the work in the parish council are done by the people who are doing the work, the planners, the engineers, okay? The parish councils meet once a month. What experience does the parish councillor have about engineering, about build out, about planning a community?
All right.
That's why they hire people.
All right. Let us try and bring the discussion succinct a little bit and not too broad because there are a lot of issues that we want to discuss, and we don't want to go national. We want to keep it local because it's a local government election that's coming up. All right.
I'm going to conclude with I'm going to conclude with your question. All right. Like I said to you before, local government should be the MP for the parish that liaisons with the parish councillor. One parish councillor.
Okay, good. So I hear
The rest of the
Seriously?
money, the rest of the money can fix up tools. Okay.
MP with one parish councillor. How that?
Oh,
No, that couldn't represent the people.
Yeah.
That no serving. And a parish is not one MP. A parish is not one MP.
Yeah,
mhm.
but what I'm saying to you, though, what is there to discuss? What's there to discuss? If you're getting all
It's
you
not
need,
a discussion, not about discussion. Some basic services, but a parish is not one MP. You know, a parish can be
yeah,
four MPs.
yeah, but it doesn't mean that it makes it right, because we're not getting
Yeah, but you're
the
mixing the things. You know, it's not central government we have a problem with, right? It's local government, the micro and the macro. And at the micro level, there are some things that
Needs to be done.
close contact is required to get them done. And
Right.
So I'm
if
saying to
you can't be trusted with simple things, how can you be trusted with big things? Is the kind of
yeah, but
philosophy. Come on.
yeah,
But
but what I'm
I
what,
cannot blame the local representatives now because their hands are tied by this
yeah,
overbearing, power hungry
Central
central government.
executive.
well,
Right?
Central government.
I
Yes.
believe
Yeah.
I believe in decentralizing government. So I'm with you on that. What I'm saying to you, though, is that I would rather have more money to fix the infrastructure than to pay salaries of these 240 at council that's costing Jamaican taxpayers over $1 billion a year, is what I'm saying.
All right. So, Dr. Mark, you are for less councillors, and I hear and majority of the
I want less salaries to fix my infrastructure than having people walking around not doing anything, because they're not doing anything.
all right. And then I hear the other panelists is saying it's more decentralizing, taking most of the responsibilities from central government and giving the local authorities more autonomy. I'm gonna
It's
move to
very
my
easy here. Structure
Okay,
in a
just
structural way, very easy to get it
restructuring.
right. Very easy to get it
I'm
right.
gonna move to my next question.
hold on, Ralston. Hold on there. I want to ask
Sure.
Mr. Hilton, Dennis, a question, because you talk about the three counties. Would you support like the police force? Each county has their own commissioner of police.
You know that I had made a proposal like that, and I remember a senior female officer in the JDF just commenting. I don't know if it was on Global Watch back in the day, right? When I proposed a structure of even decentralizing the police force, right? Because we're supposed to be moving away from force, right? To something that is more
Service.
friendly, right? And I propose the same kind of county structure, right? For the so that each of these regions have their own police service. And then there's still a ministry of national security and so on, and there would be a connection in that sense, right? And you would have local government funding the municipal corporation sharing the cost of because they get autonomy over more revenue that's generated locally and sharing the costs for these regional security regional police services, right? Same as it is done over here, I mean, it's worked, it's a model, it can work there because what you would be dealing with, there's a certain entrenchment too in this national police organization. There's a certain entrenchment that leads to interference in how the work is executed, you know? So,
And
yes, there should be something like
Mr.
that.
Hilton,
Thank you.
Mr. Hilton, I agree
Yes,
with you wholeheartedly
right.
because England, who gave us the model, the parish and
Mhm.
everything,
Right,
England used the centralized police force,
right.
West Midlands police force.
Hmm.
It is monitored and controlled by a board,
Right.
and of course, it's answerable to to the West Midlands County, and you have the various cities within the county, and
Right.
that's why
Right.
myself and other people we propose a model of governance for Jamaica where you have county government
Right.
and they have the
Yeah.
local councils as a part, and the revenues stay where they are generated, so can
That's right.
assist everybody within equally.
So you see, and they know there's a need for it, because they created district constabulary, and then they have the municipal police. All those little layers are not needed. All right, you consolidate. You no longer have district constables. You no longer have municipal police. You consolidate in having municipal police services. That's all you need.
All right. Let me put this question to Mr. Williams, Alexander Williams. So we're talking about polls. I haven't seen the one from Dan Anderson this morning, but recently there was a poll that indicated that a vast majority of the voters or the electors are not aware of who their mayors are, not the council, the mayors.
Yes.
So we have a model in Portmore, with Portmore electing their own mayor. Do you think that this model could be adopted to the
It should.
other municipalities?
It must be the reason why it takes years now.
Yes,
As
I agree.
this one.
Every mayor
1 second.
need to be elected by the people in the parish. Just as how the MP will be elected by the people in the constituency, the mayor must be elected and the mayor must live in the parish.
All right. Let me hear you on that one, Anthony.
Every MP
Sorry.
have to live in his constituency. Every councillor have to live in his division, and every mayor have to live in his parish.
All right.
That
Let me
is
hear
it.
you on that one.
That is the
Anthony.
proposal that the NDM has.
All right, good. Let me hear you on that one, Anthony.
I love the Portmore model, and I think it should be implemented across the entire country where the mayor is directly elected. I think that was forward thinking on the behalf of the Portmore people when they choose that model to directly elect their mayor. Whether or not that is going to cause persons to know who their mayors are, another question.
Yes.
And I use Westmoreland where I grew up. The municipality building is named after the mayor, Burchell. And how many persons know who Burchell Moore is? And he has been the mayor for quite some time. So I was saying this recently that we need to get back to using places like the Jamaica Information Service for the purpose of education. There were times when the Jamaica Information Service would go into community and they would set up and they would have all of these local persons, the mayor and stuff, and they would have meetings where person would come and discuss and meet their local representative. So you know who is the mayor, you know who is the councillor for this area and stuff. And when I the poll that you referred to, Ralston, I spoke with Cliff on it, and I was saying the same thing. We need to have these things where you go into communities, and I used to call it like meet your councillor, meet your mayor, where you have these meetings set up in the community where the community comes in and meet with these with their representatives, the person who are quote unquote supposed to be representing them. It should never be a case where persons are complaining that they do not know their local representative. That is a shame and stuff. So yes, I agree with the Portmore model, and I think it should be implemented across all the municipal corporation. And also, I think we need to hold those in leadership because they have a responsibility now to the people to make themselves available and make themselves known to the people. So that's my views on that one.
Also, you know, I'm tapping at the bit, right?
Yeah.
Again, Mario.
What your take, Mario?
All right. The Portmore model. Okay. Kudos to George Lee and the citizens of Portmore for the foresight in doing that petition and creating and having that Portmore model. The model was was enacted in legislation, the Portmore Municipality Act of 2003. So what many people do not understand about the Portmore model, there is a governing body. Nobody talks about that. That there's a governing body that actually the municipality answers to. And this governing body is not created by politicians. It's a part of the act. And every single community organization in Portmore is a part of this body. So there is accountability there in Portmore. Now, who might not understand the Portmore model and saying that, oh, Portmore can't get this because they're not a parish, or Portmore can't get that because they're not a parish. That's all hogwash. That there is no factual community.
Breaking up again, Mario.
Sorry about that. Portmore is the largest English speaking community in the Caribbean. It is the largest. Nobody knows the population that we have over here. And it is under pressure from infrastructure. It's bursting at its seams. I mean, if I want to go to Kingston in the morning to get to Kingston by, say, 8:30, I better leave Portmore at 6 o'clock in the morning. That's the kind of traffic we're talking about. But it's my second home. And I make myself available to learn about the Portmore model. And yes, other communities in Jamaica, whether it be St. James or Mandible or Savannah Lamar or Montego Bay or even Lucy, they need to have that sort of model. Every parish should have that model whereby in which the mayor, instead of what we currently have now, where the mayor is the political party that wins the parish, selects the mayor. The mayor should be directly elected by the people.
Absolutely.
Directly elected by the people. That is a model that we are hoping that with the growth of the Portmore model, that model will be embraced by other communities in Jamaica. It's unfortunate that other communities have not done it, because all they need to do, I think, is about 20 to do a petition. I think they need about 20,000 signatures on it, and they can approach the Ministry of Government. It's as simple as that.
They don't want to
And
change
if that's
it.
what they want,
The same model plates.
Let me jump in here for a second and kind of deviate. But I just see a breaking news that a 15-year-old died.
Yes, I heard.
In Portmore.
Yes, I heard.
Sad.
I heard. Sad. It's sad. Yeah, it is sad.
Anyway,
And I would say to those, sorry, Mr. Williams, I would say to those people, when they go out on these campaign trails, keep yourself inside of it, because be safe.
Yeah, anyway, gentlemen, unfortunately, I have to leave now. So it's a very good discussion so far. I agree with lots of the things that has been said, and I hope that one day we will live to see them implemented.
We're
Take
gonna
care.
bring you back, Mr. Williams, after the results come in, so we can get your take when the results come in. All right.
You never mentioned it, but I will tell you, it's a die-hard election, and the Jamaica Labour Party for the last 7 years have been recruiting all the young people to vote. The PNP has been in the shambles, and I'm not recruiting anybody, right? So I don't expect any great changes, except the PNP said I'm going after, the GLP said I'm going after Westmoreland and Manchester. So I will wait and see. Anyway, all the best to you. Take care.
I know Mario disagree with you, Mr. Williams, but when you come back, we're talking about that.
All right. When we come back, we'll have the results.
Yes.
We'll have the results.
All right, all the best.
All right, so
all right,
take care.
gentlemen. Let us.
Well, all I
take-
can say, all I
You
can
see,
say,
my background is blue, you know. My background is blue.
all I can say to you guys is that
The trips.
we cannot allow the JLP to win again. They have turned our country into a vassal state. Okay, we are not independent anymore.
Mark, can I agree on something?
No. I mean, they have no moral tone. There's no, you know, we were the leaders of the third world. Okay, we were the moral tone of the third world. We were respected. We were looked up to. We're still looked up to. I mean, I went to the Bob Marley movie last night, and when I drive on the highway, I'm gonna say the one love thing up. I'm gonna say, boy, I had a sense of a pride he could not believe. You know, I said, boy, look on this Rasta man, you know, that he just saying the right things.
Yes.
And he's made an impression around the world just by the words that he said. And I told some friends of mine, I said, there are musicians that have done great songs that will never have the stature of a Bob Marley. Why? You will remember by what you've done. And his advocacy for the rights of the disenfranchised and the basic human rights of people around the world has galvanized the world around Bob Marley and have made him this incredible icon that all
Absolutely.
Jamaicans should be proud of. And you know,
Excuse me. I'm gonna have to tell you guys goodbye.
And
you know,
I
After
hope
we'll
I
talk.
hope we don't waste it. All right, thank you,
Yeah.
Mario. And we
Yeah,
bring you
afterward.
back after the results come out. I
Yeah.
know we spoke about this, guys, the whole idea that the parties seem to be focusing on the national issues and not really the local issues. Do you think this is in some way, Hilton Dennis, do you think this is in some way a strategy that they're using in order to work towards the general that is due in 2025? I don't hear you. You're muted.
This is
You have
why,
to un-
I would have left already, because I was saying I have to go. Somebody muted the mic.
Okay.
That is what I said in my opening comments.
Mhm.
That they were running a general election campaign for local government that was leader centric.
Mhm.
Both party leaders see it as a referendum. One on his leadership of the party and his prospects to lead the party into the general election, and the other on his leadership of the country. So
Mhm.
they have, hijacked a local government campaign to have a general election, a pre-general election campaign, right? On the basis, they're pushing the leaders forward and on the basis of, testing who the people want to lead the country after the next general election. It is so unfair to the people. It is so unfair to even their parties, more than they would ever know and understand. But they are so obstinate about it. There is nothing that can get them to, steer right and to do it differently. So it is what it is, and it just deepens the confusion of the people.
Right, but I've said this before, that the local elections are about, these are cheerleaders for the political parties. That's why they give them that raise. They give them that raise so they can galvanize their party people for the next election. It's not about serving anybody. I like your structure, by the way, with the three governors. I think that's one of the things that we discussed in Up Jamaica. And like I said, good ideas are not exclusive to any one person. But what I can say to you is that we are doing, I don't know if Michael mentioned here or not, but Up Jamaica and about 3 other political movements have actually been approaching the different constituencies and allowing them to provide their candidates to us. Jamaica doesn't provide candidates to constituencies. We go in there and we find out who is well respected by the community. We vet them. We show them our model or protocols for good governance. And if they adhere to them, they sign off. We sign off on them, and we support them. So we are going to do at some town halls in the next few months, and I would not be surprised if there's a big surprise in the next election, because let me say something to you. There's one community that I have been approaching over the years, with my advocacy with bauxite mining. And I'll stop by, not in the context of a political movement or anything, but just to meet the people and talk to them. And when they heard that I was doing this Up Jamaica movement, these are diehard labor rights. They were so... we had to get signatures. First of all, it made it very difficult for us to get to become registered, right? You have to get registered by persons who are voters, registered voters. Not a citizen, not a regular citizen. You have to be a registered to sign your document to carry to the ECG to get registered, right? But both the GLP supporters and the PNP supporters are signing our document. So if we can just galvanize all of the independents and to give the Jamaican people an option to let them know that we are actually a political organization. The green lizard and the red ants, I'm gone in the boss. That's a thing of the past, because they're frustrated with them because there's no change. Jamaica is run by duopoly governance. It's the GLP, PNP versus the Jamaican people. There's no ideological difference between the two political parties. They sell out and they liquidate assets to give themselves to give themselves raise and to do all kinds of foolishness. And I'm sure they don't run their own household the way that they manage our money. They're fiscally irresponsible.
All right.
Because they know they can always liquidate their assets.
Mark.
That's why they pay the bills.
Before you come in, though, Anthony, because we gone way over time, but the discussion is very fruitful and it's helpful. And I want to drag Mark's thoughts a little bit, because I hear him saying, okay, we're working towards the general. Up Jamaica is working towards the general. But what then do you make of the argument that a lot of things take place at the local level? And if you're not visible at the local level, if Up Jamaica is not visible at the local level, we don't see any candidates for you at the local level, how are we then supposed to recognize you or to make what you are bringing to us at the national level? Because that's a solid argument.
I'll answer that very simply. The candidates are among the people. Like I said to you before, we do not bring candidates from Kingston into Portmore or into Trelawney. We've identified the people in the constituencies who the people respect. So I'm not. We don't have to do that. The kind of legwork you're talking about. All we show them our constitution, our manifesto for change, and they're on board. They bring their friends to sign our documents. Like I said to you, right? The biggest challenge we have is that most of the people in North Jamaica they're not interested in running as a political, they're not interested in politics. All they're interested in is change that is going to allow our country to be viable. I'm not a real political brethren. I mean, even see Michael say, boy, Mark, why don't you run? I'm not interested in running. I'm not a politician like that. I just want to know that my country, we have a responsibility to the next generation, all right? And I'm very serious about this. We cannot break a system with all the knowledge we have, Tony, Smith, and all of you guys. I mean, we got decent education. Are we going to leave this to the next generation to fix? No, it's our responsibility, man. And we have to do all that it takes. We have to do all that it takes to ensure that we leave this country called Jamaica that we're blessed to have been born into.
All right. You're gonna come in with something, Anthony.
To the next generation. We can't leave this to them, bro, because this is total dysfunction. Total dysfunction. There's no representation. They represent party interests and only themselves. How can you give a 20% raise when basic school students, I mean, we should be having free education from basic to high school. We should not be paying for representation without being and we're not represented. Because I mean, when I did my little advocacy with Up Jamaica and the Advocacy Network at the finance ministry, right? I drove my truck down there and I dropped into a pothole. And let me say this to you, I drove a truck. It cost me $170,000 to fix my truck in this pothole that I'm sure people who represent us pass every day. If I was driving a smaller vehicle, that car would have been written off. All I'm saying to you is that when you have people that are representing you in their own parish, if you drop in a pothole and bus you spring them, your MP when dropping at the same pothole and bus and spring.
So they know. They
Want to go into the community. We do not accept any candidates that's out of the community. They have to represent their own people. And all we're doing up Jamaica is to put a structure in place to hold them accountable. There's a recall option in our manifesto. Okay, if a person is not doing what they're supposed to be doing, they can be recalled by the people who elect them. Because they are indeed the bosses. These people are now our bosses. They tell us what they want to do and how they want to do it. And that must stop.
Right.
And we fix it.
Okay, Mr. Cameron. You hear me? Mr.
Yes,
Cameron? So if your party was to come into power tomorrow, would you roll back that 200% increase that you talk of, or you speak of?
Absolutely, my brother. One of the things that I built a coffin. if you go up on the Gleaner and look for Mark Cameron up Jamaica, you'll see the coffin I built. The coffin had a signs on there said death to the police, death to the teachers, because where the money should be spent to help the people. My philosophy is if I were to run, I could not in good conscience take a salary. I couldn't, because we're not generating enough money to pay any salary. We're borrowing and liquidating assets to pay our bills, which is why I find it very irresponsible for a man who is supposed to be educated as Nigel Clark, who I know calls Santa Clark, to give out these types of money on. Okay, suppose there's a windfall for 1 year. It doesn't mean, and I'm not sure if there's a windfall. We're not producing the kind of money to pay the kind of salaries that are going to be etched in stone for the rest of our lives.
Mark, I want to respond.
That is how irresponsible these people are.
Go ahead, Anthony.
Mark, I beg to differ with you on a lot of things.
Be my guest.
Wait. If we're going to attract good governance and
oh my God.
No, let him finish, Mark. Let him finish.
We're going to attract persons who are going to come and work and all of those things. They must be paid. Let's say that. They must be paid. So if I am working in the private sector and I am earning $1,000,
and
I'm going to give up my private sector job to go to work in the public sector. Why then should I go to work in the public sector for $500 when I can earn $1,000? I am saying that if we want good government, we should put ourselves in a place to attract the best and the brightest minds to lead us or to govern our business, and they must be paid, man. Because
but let me qualify something you're saying. Can I come in on this? Can I come in and say something?
Yes.
The basis, Mark. Can I say something, Mark? Can I say something on the point that Anthony just raised on the salary?
No, I'm
The
gonna
basis,
finish
the,
that.
the hold on,
No,
the man, hold on.
Hold on, Mark. Hold on just a second. Let me hear Hilton
The
and
justification cannot be that you were earning $1,000 in the private sector and you're giving it up to go get $500 in the public sector. It must be the value of the service you provide wherever you are.
I am on board
Okay?
with
To justify, let me finish the point, right? Nobody, you made a choice. You want to be in public service. You
Absolutely.
made a choice to give up the cushion and the comfort of your job as a lawyer in a profession, an accountant, a medical doctor, and most of them still practice and still work in their profession, right? They are just saying to us that the job of member of parliament or whatever require them to concentrate more. Is only the ones who get in the cabinet totally leave what they used to do, right? The member of parliaments don't. And I'm saying to you, the basis must be what is the value of the job that you're expected to do, and what are the performance measurements that are going to be there to see that you do it.
Well, guys, I forgot, but let me finish what I
Yeah,
said.
I have to go too. We over
right.
time.
All right,
We
hold
over
on,
time.
hold on, hold on.
Let's have a part
hold
2
on.
to this.
Let's
do a follow-up.
wrap up. Hold on. Everybody seems to have to go.
Wrap up.
Let's just wrap up because we're gonna have to come
Hold
back.
on, but I
Hold
don't
on,
answer
the Mark. Hold on.
the question, Bridge. No, Ibrahim said something I have to answer to. No,
All
listen,
right, go ahead.
anybody that goes into public life is for service.
Right.
If you want a job, stand where you're there. If you want
Absolutely.
a job, stay where you are. We're looking for people to serve. Many people. So why are so many doctors and lawyers and Indian and chief are running the politics and pay millions of dollars to go in it to try and serve because it's a push job.
Because money is in there.
If you want to serve, go down to the health hospitals and go serve them. You want to come rob people and take for the money and take for the resources. That's what they want.
All right.
All right. Everybody have to go, but we gotta wrap the show properly. We gotta wrap the show properly. Lots to discuss. We want to thank you for joining us on this discussion about local government. We want to thank Mario Wood. Want to thank Hilton Dennis, Mark Cameron, Michael Williams, and as usual, we know you have a choice. And we appreciate you for coming and staying here. And I want to thank you for having joined us here on the Irie Myrie and Friends shows. My name is Ralston Chamberlain.
Thank you for having me.
Goodbye for
Okay,
now.
and I'm Colin Myrie on behalf of you, my co-host. You heard just hear him there. This was the Irie Myrie and Friends show. So thank you very much for coming. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Okay.
Bye. Bye, guys.